We could also hear from Lee Curtis, who's an eyewitness at Alton Towers, who saw this crash happen. She sent us the picture on the left of the screen. Hello to you, Lee. What can you tell us about what happened?
Well, I didn't actually see the incident itself. Ironically, the only way I found out about it was through the Sky News Twitter feed. I was actually sat in a bar area, but we saw an air ambulance come in, and that was the first one. And, you know, you didn't really sort of appreciate what the gravity of the situation, what had happened, and then the second one came in, and then there was a cordon of Alton Towers staff just guarding where the air ambulances were, and then everyone's just sort of congregated around the sort of the centre of the park, is just where you come in. And yeah, it's quite an eerie feel about it at the moment. It's not really a lot of people talking, just sort of standing in bewilderment, really.
Yeah, Lee, I would imagine after what's happened, a lot of people were heading home. As our previous guest, Tom, was saying, he'd been on that ride some time earlier. In terms of the amount of activity that's going on with paramedics, the air ambulance in attendance, as well as a lot of first aiders from the park, is there a lot going on?
Yeah, I mean, it was very busy. I mean, it's considering it's not, you know, it's not really in season. It's yeah, it's been very busy. A lot of activity. I mean, to be honest, I went on air this morning, and the same thing what happened on the Smiler happened on air earlier on. You know, there was a procedure where they had to stop the ride for technical glitch, and then they sent round an empty carriage round just to make sure it was working. But obviously, you know, the Smiler situation was a lot more serious.
OK, Lee, so you're saying that you were on the L roller coaster and there was a bit of a technical problem there. Did they speak to you over the tannoy and tell you there was a problem, or did you just presume that was happening?
I mean, to be fair, there was a guy at the start of the air roller coaster, and we just asked him, we said, well, you know, what's the problem? And he was like, oh, these things happen. If you want to go ahead and queue, you can go ahead and queue. There was a 15-minute queue, and I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. He didn't sort of give us any indication it was like a serious technical fault. He said, oh, these things happen all the time. You know, it should be back up and running very quickly. So, you know, there was nothing that stopped me to think, you know, anything was out of the ordinary. It just seems sort of one of those procedure things where they just kept running it through for about 5 minutes, I think it was, in the end, and then we all were able to get on.
OK, all right. Lee, thank you very much for speaking to us here on Sky News this afternoon. Lee Curtis, they're speaking to us from Alton Towers. He's been at the theme park today, and he sent us that picture you see there on the left of the West Midlands Air Ambulance arriving at the scene. 16 people involved in an accident on the Smiler. 4 of them, we know, have serious injuries. That rescue operation underway. Richard Souchet is here following the story for us, and that's interesting, isn't it, Richard? We've heard from 2 people at the theme park today. Tom and Lee both said that they experienced problems on rides at Alton Towers, and a test car was sent around, and then it was deemed safe to continue.
That's very interesting, and particularly interesting that it happened on the ride in question here. Tom Welton was saying that his car became stuck and that they then sent a test car round. No doubt that will make up part of the investigation into this incident. Could this have been foreseen? Could this have been predicted? That will be the question. But I thought some other very interesting points to come out of what Tom had to say. He said he heard a big bang, and he was on the other side of the park. And I think that gives you a sense of the kind of impact that we're talking about, and to why we're talking about seriously injured people this afternoon. One ambulance, he said, has left already, so that suggests that people, or someone, or some people are already on their way to hospital, but there is an air ambulance still at the scene. And of course, he was saying that people are heading home, so clearly the atmosphere at the park is not good.
This is a new picture we've got into us here at Sky News. It's on the right. It's going to come full screen for you now from Ben Jamming on Twitter. This was taken of the slider, the 2 carriages involved, around the time of the accident. You can see that there's some people there in that carriage on the left. It seems, from what I can see, the one on the right is empty. Those 2 carriages colliding at about 2:09 this afternoon. We can bring in Lloyd Collar, who's at Alton Towers this afternoon. Lloyd, did you witness the accident?
Well, I was just about going into the queue line. I didn't actually see it, but I heard it.
And what did it sound like?
Well, it sounded like a car crash. Exactly how it sounded like, just metal on metal.
And then talk to us about what happened immediately afterwards. Were you all evacuated, told to clear the area? What kind of procedures kicked in?
Well, yeah, I mean, at first it was sort of panic stations, but obviously there's hundreds of staff on the scene straight away. Obviously the queue line, everyone was out, the whole area where the Smiler actually is, that was evacuated straight away. And then within probably 10 minutes, the whole area was closed off, and there was literally probably 80 to 100 staff, obviously backing people away. But it seemed at first, obviously, it did seem at first it was panic stations, but within, a few minutes, they seemed to know what they were doing.
Yeah, Alton Towers have released a statement saying that they had people on the scene straight away. Did you see the carriage as you left the queue? Did you see what was going on?
Well, we could see that. We could see the gist of what had happened. We could obviously hear quite a lot of screaming from people, but we didn't know why it had happened or what exactly caused the accident.
We're hearing that a 999 call was made by Alton Towers staff to West Midlands Ambulance. How long did it take them to get to the scene? We understand that there was an air ambulance, 4 ambulances as well.
Yeah, well, we just got to a local campsite, and on the way we passed 4 police cars, 2 ambulances on the scene. But the air ambulance was there. We could hear the ambulance within 5 minutes, and it was landed, and they seemed to got there pretty quick.
And in terms of, I know they've evacuated that area immediately around the roller coaster. In terms of other visitors to the park, I can't imagine many people want to stay in there this afternoon. What's happened? Are most people leaving, Lloyd?
Well, the air ambulance is right in the middle of the park on the grass, and that's quite heavily surrounded by the public. But yeah, a lot of people are leaving now. We obviously thought just to get out, because by the looks of things, the whole park would have been evacuated, so it would have been murder getting out. But yeah, by the looks of things, most people are leaving.
We were just hearing from 2 other people that were at the park today, Tom and Lee, Lloyd, and they were saying that they experienced some glitches, I think is how one of them described it, on rides that they were on this afternoon. Have you experienced anything like that today?
No, I mean, we'd only done 3 or 4 rides. We was having quite a chilled out day because we're up here for tomorrow as well. And then we were literally walking in the queue, and then obviously that happened, so that was our day over.
And you say you're staying tomorrow. Has this put you off staying on, Lloyd?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to go back and see what we can do, I guess, but I'm pretty sure that whole area is going to be closed off anyway, so we'll probably end up doing just the same things we've done today.
OK, Lloyd, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for speaking to us from Alton Towers today. That's Lloyd Collar there, who was queuing for that ride you see there on your right, the slider at Alton Towers, when that crash happened at 9 minutes past 2 this afternoon. 16 people involved in that collision between the 2 carriages. A moving carriage smashed into a stationary carriage which had no other passengers in it. It's just the 16 people in that one carriage, the 2 of them coming together. We're hearing that 4 people are seriously injured. The air ambulance you can see there on the left of your screen is in attendance. West Midlands Ambulance Service have also sent 4 ambulances with a number of doctors and medics, a triage team as well.